Starfield may also be about jumping into the unknown, but that's purely coincidental for this video. Or is it? What are my reasons for making videos? When I started out, there were ideas or things I had wanted to talk about for a while, and I quickly discovered a video was the best way of doing that. Maybe I wanted to research something and videos could help me to frame it. I suspect if I did university again now, my studying would comprise of making lots of short, concise videos to help me understand each and every topic. But I've only recently discovered that one of the reasons making videos was so exciting when I first got into it was the thrill of jumping into the unknown and not knowing how it would turn out. When you're new to making videos, you have very little control over how it will turn out, and you have no way of visualizing the result other than how you hope it will be. Obviously, it won't end up like that, but that's what makes the journey exciting. But as you get better at controlling your content and have more and more finished projects to project from. And with that, you get better at avoiding the unknowns. But all that's boring. I think most YouTubers end up playing it too safe, especially when it becomes their career, and when a bad video is more than just wasted time, it's also wasted money. And there's a tendency to stick to tried and tested formulae until they run dry. Unfortunately, that ends up making the process incredibly stale, and the last thing you want for your life's work to be is stale, especially when it's such a large number of hours that you invest every week. So I do like a mystery project, where I know there's an idea there somewhere, but I'm unable to envision how it will turn out because it's so insanely different from everything else I've ever done. Fran's Unified Toilet Theory, for example. That video was unlike anything I had made before, so when I embarked on making it, I had no idea how it would turn out. It changed several times over the course of making it, and it was honestly a mystery until I watched the final thing back and decided it had been a success. It would suck for all that to be wasted on a failed video. It would also suck for people to say it's the best video I've ever made when it's merely a one-off project and not my type of content to make. There's no easy way to repeat that video's success, and I'm not sure I'd even want to if I could. It was a lot of work. At the time of making this video that you're watching now, I was also working on a Starfield video about venturing into the unknown, and it contained several unknowns that made loading up the video editor and working on it a daunting prospect. By the time this video's out, so will the Starfield video that I'm talking about, so you'll be able to see how it's turned out. I'm unable to do that right now. But picture the situation. I was given a sponsorship deal, provided I could incorporate it into a game that, at the time of agreeing to that deal, wasn't even out. They wanted a release date soon after the game came out, with that game being Starfield. This is a Bethesda game which typically takes dozens of hours to get familiar with. I proposed early ideas and stuff, but let's be honest, there's no way of knowing what a video about Starfield is going to be about until I've at least had the chance to play it, ideally for a couple of weeks. Don't pre-order games, certainly not on a buggy Bethesda title, and certainly don't spend even more to get early access. That is, unless you're me, where every day of early access is invaluable to get a head start on this sort of project that I've agreed to making. So when I got early access, I was split. I wanted to get started on the video as soon as possible, but I couldn't do that until I had at least played the game for a bit. With hindsight, I always wish I had played the game for a few extra days before embarking on a video project about it, because you learn so much so quickly about a new game. This time around, I managed to clock up about 25 hours of gameplay in Starfield before starting on this video, which I'd say is about the bare minimum you can do in this sort of game before you know what it's about. So my proposed video: venturing beyond the city into the wilderness beyond and documenting my travels. Problem is, I didn't know how it would end. I was at the mercy of what I would find along the way. What if it all sucks? For a large part of this video's development, I didn't even know if what I was exploring was procedurally generated or the same for everybody. I go off on a side quest halfway through the video to discover if it is or not, which I felt helped bulk out the video and to act as insurance should my adventure go nowhere interesting. So why not go on the whole adventure first? You're probably asking yourself. Yeah, it sounds sensible to do that before making a video about it, doesn't it? I could regularly create save games, then revisit and reenact the bits that I found most interesting. I had to do that a few times just to get good time lapses of me running about. But it's just the first time you play a game is always the best. The greatest moments in my videos are the bits that aren't planned or scripted, and that just naturally form as I'm going along. Odgrub's Ebony Warrior video, for example. I had a great idea of where I wanted that video to go, right up to the fight with the Ebony Warrior itself. That fight taking place was planned 6 months in advance, but I didn't have a clue how it would end. Would the Ebony Warrior kill Odgrub? Yes, if it made for the best ending. For the first 5 months of development, and for most of the video's playtime, I still didn't know how that fight would pan out. I just played it by ear once the fight began, and what eventually happened turned out far better than I could have planned for. Needless to say, working on a video for about half a year without knowing the ending is stressful stuff. And it happened again with the Starfield video, which I originally marketed like this, not knowing what would happen once I ventured beyond the city. Honestly, I didn't expect for a lot to happen. But as it turns out, Odgrub did fall off the side of the world, and it resulted in a much better ending than I could ever have hoped for. I rebranded the video to this, and eventually settled on this, because I knew this was far better, and I'm sure they'll forgive me once the video does well. And that was that. So like I said, that Starfield video with me venturing into the unknown is now out. None of you will ever experience those few weeks of worry and doubt that I had, not knowing what the video would be about, nor how it would end. For me, this project was moments of dread as I loaded the video editing software up, and hours of frustration when 4 hours of editing yielded 30 seconds of footage. But for you, it's instantly become just a thumbnail on YouTube that you may or may not even choose to click on. Once a newer video comes out, you probably just assume that one's newer and better instead. But just know that this Starfield video wasn't a foregone conclusion. It wasn't a quick and easy video to make. It wasn't one that was heavily scripted or pre-planned. It was a heavily edited Let's Play, where I jumped into the unknown by jumping into the unknown. It's as worthy of being an Odgrub video as any other that I've done. I'll quickly forget about most of the hassle and worry as well. But it's those elements that make my YouTubing an adventure. To know that the video will have to come out regardless of its quality. It's the pressure of having to make a video for a sponsor, and the time pressure of having to release it within a certain time frame, which gives me that sense of relief and satisfaction once I finally push it out and as it plops down the black hole that is YouTube's algorithm. It's like a creative form of gambling. Time to embark on more stressful and worrying projects with unknown outcomes.